Go ahead. Starting out with.
How do you feel about all the talent you have in that room?
The wide receiver room?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Kickers.
I think we've got a really good group of guys this year, and certainly having some leadership like Alan Lazard and Trevor Ryan, some guys that have kind of been staples in the offense the last couple of years helps. And then, guys like Margie Murdoch, who's emerged tremendously through this offseason and really found a great niche in what we're doing. And then guys like Matt Eaton and Akeem Butler. Akeem, obviously, we saw a little bit last season and some flashes of greatness out of him, and I think certainly he's continued to elevate his game. And then, DeShante kind of in the mix there still with Trevor Ryan. So certainly got a lot of depth, and even some young guys that are starting to step up. Jalen Martin and Landon Akers, who both redshirted for us last year, are competing and really giving us some quality reps, and even Tariq Milton, who came in this fall and this summer, is going out there and kind of making some big plays down the field for us.
Is Eaton healthy?
Matt Eaton?
Yeah,
Matt, he was limited throughout the spring, was limited for most of the summer. I would say probably midway point of June, Matt was cleared and back to 100%, and really hasn't missed a beat all fall camp. He's been in every rep, not even in treatment situations. So he's a guy that's going out there and is repping quite a bit with us and making some big plays. Had a couple of really big plays today out at practice. It's fun watching him because he's got some of the size and length like we have with Allen and Akeem, but he's got great takeoff too. And he's a guy that can really stretch the field and run. And those guys are fun to play with when you talk about their size and takeoff ability.
We heard Matt talk about Milton a few different times. Is he a guy that you're expecting to help right away this season?
Tariq's a young guy, got here this summer, hasn't fully immersed himself yet in the playbook, but has really had a great first 5 or 6 practices and has gone out, has made a bunch of plays. He's a guy that's a little bit different than the rest of the room because his strength is his ability to take off and stretch the field, and he can make some plays down the field. Obviously a guy that we still want to get a little bit stronger and maybe put a little bit of weight on him going into the season, but we'll see. Might be a guy that can help us in the return game, kick return, punt return, and certainly a guy that if you're looking for big plays, can do that for you.
Coach, have you guys tried to change the size of the room just in general in terms of adding bigger, taller guys?
I like having a good balance. I think at the end of the day, you need guys that can be playmakers. And what we do offensively, we're going to play fast, we're going to play with tempo. We're going to try to stretch the field and be explosive. And so we need to have guys that can do that for us, guys that you may throw a quick screen to, but they can, get you 15, 20, or take it all the way the distance. So I think having a good blend of that is good. And certainly if you can have guys that have size, that are loose enough to get in and out of routes and that have a great burst and takeoff and quickness that they can separate and stretch the field. I think all those things playing in together work well, but I think we got a good blend of it right now.
Coach Campbell said that Hakeem Butler maybe has the most talent in that room. What do you guys see that has that high-end talent, and what does he have to do to reach it as a sophomore? I mean, he's only a sophomore.
Yeah, Akeem's very unique in the sense that he's a 6'6" guy. He's very long, but he's very loose. He's very wiry. He can create some separation with that, and he also is really good getting in and out of breaks. He's got some suddenness to him. He's got the ability, when you watch him, and if you probably looked at 40 times, maybe he isn't the greatest, but he's a guy that can get on top of defenders in a hurry because he eats up so much ground. And I bet if you ran, running 40s where you weren't necessarily starting from a starting position, he'd be up there with the rest of them. So once he gets going and gets those first couple steps in the ground, he does have takeoff ability. He can get on top of the coverage. So he's a guy that has matured tremendously off the field this offseason and has certainly now gotten comfortable in our system. Again, a year ago, kind of his first year like the rest of them in our offense. Now having a year under his belt, you'll see Akeem doing things other than just being the outside receiver this year for us.
Are there higher expectations for Marchie now that he's gotten much more time under his belt? Because I think Matt had said he was kind of almost a late arrival. I think the day before camp.
It was, yeah. I think he showed up the day before report date last year, and you got to understand he spent the entire offseason prior to arriving in Ames. He spent it, finishing up his undergraduate degree, wasn't necessarily in a strength and conditioning program, kind of doing it on his own. And so he got here, and we were trying to figure out where he was going to fit. Was he going to play inside? Was he going to play outside? And, so I think last year was kind of a learning experience for both him and us in terms of what he could do. But I'll tell you, if you talk about guys that have had great off seasons, his has been incredible. And even, you talk about spring ball, he was hot in March. We're calling it March Madness, not because of the tournament, but because what you were seeing him do in practice. And, we were hoping there wasn't April sadness that followed, but he came out and finished really, really strong, was probably offensively I would say the MVP of what we did in the spring, and then has really developed that leadership role. He's not only a great teammate, but he's a guy that works really hard. He's always got a smile on his face. He's competitive. He strains in everything that he does, and I think every day you see a little bit more and a little bit more, and he's a guy that's going to be fun to watch this year. I got a lot of expectations for him, and I think he's got a chance to really help this team.